People have good students every year. Then I woke up and went to the national exam. And my son, I tried my best too, and you argued. We eat our own food, and they're so good at it. How much ROI do you want to eat today? I'm sorry, I won't do that next time. I'll try harder, not in time. I've given you so many chances. How much ROI do you want to eat? You see, pressure to learn at school. This is a common thing for almost all students, from once upon a time to today. And it's increasing at every level. The higher the pressure, and maybe you're just like me, learning outcomes. It's always been something that really haunts me. I used to think back then, Mom is right. To really care about your child's grades and education. But the answer is, no, my mother doesn't really care about my grades. What I'm most interested in is checking the math. 8 points, and your friend got a few points. To 10. But really, besides the pain, sad about that pressure, there's so many other silly things about going to school. And today I'm going to tell you about my schooling. Let you see. In addition to being beaten up, I was beaten up and had a lot of disability. You know what? In elementary school, I played the happy guy in LA and Philly. He's been in the same class as me since kindergarten. Back then, behind our school is a vacant lot and there are horses. It's a treasure. That's the mango tree. A favorite of the students at the time, behind the toothpick. I don't know when the tree was, but since I was in school, I've seen it. We're challenging Mr. Earth here. When is the best mango on this tree? Simply when it's ripe. Pack. That's wrong. I'll just tell the Earth. The best mango is when you steal it from the tree. That's right. It's time to play ball. So we decided we were going to climb up the mango tree. The other two will stand under a guard on the left. A guard on the right. Defend in both directions if the teacher counts the jumps. To run the Cambodian mission together. The Earth knows. If mango is best when plucked from the tree, now you'll need to do nothing. I picked the whole tree. The teacher couldn't understand. That day Fuck was arrested by the vice principal. My husband and I were lucky to get ahead. Time out of play. Just a few classes ago, the teacher called it right on the board. I want you to explain what happened today. Let me in the class listen. I don't want to steal mangoes, but Long, I want you to stand up and let the two of you stand in the canal. It's so unfair. What the? If you were a good brother, you shouldn't have told me that. As few people as possible. Right? Bad friends, leave each other. The teacher answered it with a single question, a sentence that I later learned. Almost all of the teachers at the time would say the same. So Long, and who told you to do that? Yes, that's right, it's too bad. So they told you to eat shit. Did you eat shit? In that very moment, I've learned one of my most valuable lessons. Student time. I'll never make a mistake like that. I'm never going to say the structure is 3 dots. Tell them to do that to any adult. If I do, I will. And finally, we all had to write a review that day. Get your parents' autographs the next day. My mother was steady that my disability can go away. Every morning before school, I usually put a bottle of water on and there's a milk can right there. Let me drink at playtime. Let the disability fade away. You asked me what milk I'm holding. That's when you asked me. That's Luvi milk. Many delicious new flavors, especially the one-of-a-kind crunchy jelly. Delicious Luvi milk and Luvi power recipes. To be developed exclusively from the Swedish Luvi food milk the tall people are cool, smart, extreme. He was so handsome that he stopped for about 2 seconds. I'm sure you're worried about going back to school this season. I've got a secret for you. That's the Nuvi Ball. Protection from inside out milk Nuvi Ball. Nutritional level helps high growth. Nuvi Ultra Cool Protective Mask. Wearing a mask and still handsome. And finally, the Nuvi protective bracelets fly the Nuvi bacteria. The last story I told was in elementary school. I should have told you first. So in 1st grade. But I pushed it down last because it was embarrassing. So you can promise me. Don't make a joke about this. As you know, in the episode Whole Clean Food, I hate going to the bathroom at school because it's dirty. But that's in 4th grade. In 5th grade, when I first started, I'm afraid to go to the bathroom. Embarrassed by the teacher and her new friends. That day was one of my first grade classes. New friend, new teacher. And I've never met any of these beautiful girls. That morning I drank too much water. Not long after the middle of class, I realized I needed to deal with the sadness of peeing. But I can't go to the bathroom because in my head at the time, the teacher is a complete stranger. You can't talk in front of strangers. I'm afraid the kids in the class will think. Turns out this guy's pissed and shit all the people on this earth. I don't understand. Because when I was a kid, I was thinking that way. And I ended up going to the bathroom. It's not the school toilet. It's the classroom chair. It probably won't work until the sly pig sat right next to me. I found out my lady friend peed out her pants. It's not that my chair got wet and I didn't know it, so I sat up. So I got my pants wet. And I had to argue back. Because you can't let the shame of LAN spread to the whole class. And the teacher walked up to me from the podium. Hi, I am the parent of Long. I need you to bring Long's pants to class quickly. He's wetting in my class. Why am I telling this story now? Thinking back is a shame, but for the psychology of kids from kindergarten to elementary school, I am still a grown man. It's not surprising that we need to empathize with each other. Don't laugh at me. I used to think that my class teacher, I'm a special person, if not super VIP pro, even though my teacher stood with her back to write on the board. But every time I lose order down there, I told you, do your homework by mouth or by hand. That's what SAO says. Why don't you look and you still know that? Because I have eyes at the back of my head. What the eyes are at the back of the neck. I startled with my hands, even the nape of my cheek. I don't have any eyes on the back of my head. Not only that, my teacher has hearing grow to the level of excess. She used to tell us, I'm sitting in the waiting room and still hear you talking loudly. What? Our class at the top of the waiting room at the end of the class, but you can still hear her. This is a super VIP pro in our hearts. If all 5 of my only sweet parents would one day, it's the first Lunar New Year, my teacher is just sweet to the class. Only one day. Do you know when that is? That's the timing. She turns into a fairy in a fairy tale. Literally always. Someone the whole class doesn't know at all. A very strange person, because usually you'll never say those emotional things that you would often say. You're the dumbest and ugliest class I've ever taught. Have you ever been disheartened by this? I don't think we should be disheartened, because when we get out of school, you'll be leading another class. And you'd say the same thing. You're the stupidest and ugliest class I've ever taught, and so on. We'll never be the dumbest. We haven't seen each other in nearly 2 months. But first, if the sign-up button is still red, be ready to support me. In fact, the original video script is twice as long, but it's too long to cut it. Now I can't go to school anymore. So when you remember these things, it's really nostalgic. If you guys are still in school right now, let's just enjoy a student life full of idiocy. I'll be sorry later, that's all I'm saying. Come back, look at the beautiful evil fan pictures. See you in the next video.